What's up guys, Mad Max here, and today I am going to install some new reverse lights on a 392 Wrangler. Not my 392 Wrangler, because I already have them on mine, and I didn't film them. So, yeah, we're going for a green one. Stay tuned. Alright, so I know what you guys are thinking. Where am I putting extra reverse lights? Well, if you look right there and there are these little red reflectors that in Europe apparently are rear fog lights, but here do absolutely nothing. So what I am going to install is this little kit from IJDM Toy. So let me lay it out and show you what is in here. Okay, so this kit includes two little reflectors, which you can see have LEDs in them. It includes a wiring harness, and what you do is you run it up to each taillight. Now, I went ahead and I wrapped it in this fiberglass plastic material that's basically black loom, so you don't see the wires because they run right through here. So you would see them otherwise. I also put these connectors on the end, and then you have these T-taps, which you'll clip onto the wires at the reverse light. Now, these are about 50 bucks for the pair. Oracle makes a set that is brighter than these. However, I had really bad luck with them. And when I say I didn't have good luck with them, the left one didn't fit at all, and the right one started leaking water. It wasn't a good product, and it was double the price. I've had these in my truck for a few months, and not only are they half the price, they actually don't leak and they fit pretty well. I'm not saying they fit perfectly, but they fit pretty well. And they are a lot cheaper. So let's get started with this install. Alright, so tools for doing this. You're going to need a pair of pliers just to crimp these little T-taps on. If you decide to connect differently, like you're going to solder it, you need the appropriate tools for that. You're going to need a plastic pry tool to pop these reflectors out once the bolts are out. And you're going to need a ratchet with a 7mm and a wobble extension. If you notice, I can move that around, and that allows you to get to the screws that are behind this. If you do not have a wobble extension, you're going to be in for a very difficult time, and you might have to remove the bumper. A lot of people I've seen have removed the bumper to change the reflectors. You don't have to. Spend the 20 bucks or whatever it is at Harbor Freight, get yourself a set of wobble extensions, and you'll be able to get to this screw no problem, and it will make this job way easier. So, let's get started. Okay, a flashlight would help too, and if this muffler was cooler, it would be a lot more pleasant for me. But you basically fish this up in here, and I don't know if you guys can see in there. You see where I'm moving around? You're going to thread the extension through there and get to the back of the 7mm bolt, which there's no way possible I will ever be able to get. Maybe I can get a camera view on there. You can kind of see in there. You need to get back there, take the 7mm out, and then you can pull the reflector out. So let me do that because I can't hold the camera and do this at the same time. Okay, now that both the screws are out, we're going to take a plastic pry tool and we're going to pop these out. Go in from this side here. I assure you, it's not as easy as going like that. You definitely have to work your way in there and get it out. Use a plastic pry tool. Do not use a screwdriver. You will scrape the powder coating if you use a metal pry tool. So make sure you, again, go to Harbor Freight, not sponsored. Go to Harbor Freight. Buy yourself some plastic pry tools. Get them on Amazon, whatever. Use these. Don't use metal. So let me do that right now. Again, can't really do it on camera. Okay, so that one was a real pain to get out, and I remember on my truck, same thing, that one was a real pain to get out, so I'm going to assume you're going to have a real issue with that. I ended up pushing the reflector this way and popping the tab out from there and then wiggling it out, and then, and I put a lot of force into that one. This one, super simple. Little pry tool here, push a little bit this way, popped it right out. I actually ended up using two pry tools. But yeah, we got it out no problem, and it's time for the next step, which is prepping these lights. Now, I've already done one of these. If you notice, You can see it's a little white looking versus this one. What you want to do is you want to take your 7mm that you took out of these and put it in here and pre-thread it. Because if you do it underneath, you run a chance of breaking it, and you kind of know where it bottoms out. So let me do that right now. Now, if it splits like this, don't sweat it. If you notice that little shaft back there is split. If you see, there's a little tab right here, and that's going to hold the light in regardless. This is just a backup. I actually don't have screws in mine, and it stays in just fine. So the next thing we're going to do is run the wiring in and clip these reflectors in. Okay, time to put these in. What you are going to do is you are going to run this wire through this little round hole right here. Run the connectors through first, one at a time, because they will not fit otherwise. And then, sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed here. I'm trying to do it two-handed while holding a camera. But essentially what you do is just run this wire all the way through. It doesn't matter where it runs through because you're going to end up rerunning it once it's under there. You run it through and then the light just goes right in there. So let me grab the wire from the other side, make sure it's all good, and I'll pop this right in. Okay, so you can see one of the wires hanging down under the car, actually two of them hanging down. I have that taped in just because this one doesn't seem to want to snap in nice, but we got a screw anyway that's going in to hold it in, so no big deal. So once you have this installed, we're going to thread the screws back in. And what I did was I just put a little piece of masking tape around the screw head here, just to hold it in place. You can use some dum-dum, some bubble gum, whatever you want. But I use this just so the screw doesn't fall off the socket and I have to redo it. And now I'm going to put both of the screws back in and I'm going to show you how to route the wiring. Okay, so one other thing to mention, you want to get the screw started, then pull this out, pull the tape off, and then finish tightening it down, because if you pinch that tape in between the screw and the bumper, you're going to have a real tough time getting that tape out or getting the socket out. So start it off, pull on it gently, this should come right off, and then, and then finish tightening it up. I'm going to do the passenger side in a second, but I just want you guys to see how you run the wiring. I run it over the frame rail, and then we're going to continue it over the frame rail over there just to keep it away from any heat. Same thing over here. You can see that wire running right there. And we'll sneak it up to the taillights, which I'll show you how to take out in a second. Okay, so next up, we need to remove the taillights. So the way you do that, I'm going to show you on the passenger side, because it's easier for me to show you on this side. You put a plastic pry tool under here, and you pop the cover right off. Do the same thing over here. Pry tool, pop it. Now keep in mind it's warm out, so it makes plastic a lot easier to work on, but it's still pretty easy to pop out. Once you have that out, you are going to need a 10mm that fits on that little plastic bolt right there. Be careful not to strip this. It is soft plastic. That is the only thing holding the taillight in, just that one bolt. So let me ratchet that out and unplug these, and then I'll show you what wires to tap into. Okay, so once you have the taillight out, you're actually going to push this tab that way, and then you're going to press down on this to release this plug. Now, this might give you some issue. If it does, get yourself a little metal pick, and if you see that little tab there, if it doesn't come up all the way, don't be afraid to use a metal pick just to push it up a little bit farther, but do it kind of gently, and then this should all release. Again, I can't do this one-handed, so I'm going to have to put you guys down to do it. Now that we have the taillights out, we're going to fish the wire up through here. Now, I'm going to try and get it through that little hole there. I probably won't. I'm probably going to have to run it up through here. But the good news is a lot of electrical stuff runs up through here. And as long as you zip tie it up out of the way, nothing's going to happen. So let me get underneath and I will show you where to run the wires. We are now underneath. We need to run the wires, basically, to the top of the shock mount, which you can't really see from here. You can kind of see it up there. That's where we're going to be running it through. Now, the way we're going to do that is we're going to take this wire and we're going to run it over this frame rail and that way, and then up. So let me do that right now. Now, you can go around the body mount, which is probably what I would suggest. Probably suggest running it that way and then going up, and it keeps it really out of the way. Just keep it on top of the frame. That's my biggest thing. So let me do it. Okay, now I got super lucky and I actually got these to hook up here. so I could get up and I can pull them right through. I'm going to try and run them through that little hole real quick, but I don't think it's going to work. So again, I'm going to do this off camera, try and thread it through. If not, I will zip tie to this harness here and run them up. Okay, so in comparison to the driver's side, the passenger side is far more difficult. If you notice this little bar right here, that's actually connected to the tailgate. That's your detent thing. I would recommend making yourself a little snake out of zip ties or something similar and sneaking it through there and then taping it in from the bottom. You can see I just kind of ran that through there, and hopefully that doesn't fall. But what I'll probably do is I'll just tape that here so it can't go anywhere. And then I will tape it at the bottom and pull the wire through. So let me do that before I drop this through and get angry. Okay, once you have both wires run up, make sure to zip tie them to an existing harness so that they can't fall down again, because if they fall down again and it took you a half hour to run this wire, which luckily for me, because I've done it before, it did not, you'll be really frustrated. So the next thing we got to do is we actually have to tap into the wires on the taillight. So I will show you what wires right now. Now I'm going off of Oracle's wiring guide here. Move that out of the way, move this out of the way here. We have a nice soft trunk floor to flip these taillights onto, and Oracle wants you to tap into 2 wires here. Okay, so T-taps. You squeeze these things on with a pair of needle nose pliers. Put them on the orange and purple wires on both taillights. I've already hooked up the passenger one. Apparently I can't tell right from left today. I already hooked it up on the driver's side one and plugged the taillight in. I have loosely put that screw in so that the taillight can't fall out. And now I'm going to do this side, plug it in, and test it out. Alright, so now that it's connected, now you gotta test it. So have a friend hop in the driver's seat, start up your car, and put it in reverse. If you throw it in, there we go. All good. So now it's time to put it back together. Okay, don't mind the flashing light. One of my LEDs is going bad in here. I gotta swap it out. But it's finally nighttime, so I can show you guys what the reverse lights actually look like before and after on my Wrangler. So let's go outside and do that. Okay, so now that I am on a dark part of my street, I am going to show you a little bit before and after. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to just put a moving blanket over the reverse lights that are in the bumper so you can see before and after. I'm going to show you what it looks like looking out the back from the spare tire. I'm going to show you what it looks like on the reverse camera, and I'm going to put you down in the street so you can see both as well. So let's get started. Okay, so first off, no lights, reverse camera. Now you can see that there's actually a little bit right here, but I think I have it blocked out pretty good. But it gives you a really good idea of what it's like with not having reverse lights in the bumper. Kind of dim, a little difficult to see. I don't know if you can really see me, but now I'm going to put you on the spare tire. And now we're going to put you there. Now you'll probably still see some residual, but at least this will give you a good idea of what the lights look like, or what they don't look like. Alright, now that the lights are uncovered, let's take a look at how the backup camera looks with the auxiliary lights. As you can see, way brighter behind me. And I live in a pretty densely populated area. I'm in northern New Jersey. You can see the street is fairly dark, but I mean, I'm not exactly in the rural countryside, which is where this really makes a difference. So let me show you what it looks like from the rear view with the camera on the spare tire and on the ground. All right, so that's the full tutorial on putting some reverse lights in your rear bumper on your Wrangler. Hope you guys liked it. I'm going to provide a link in the description for the iJDM toys on Amazon. I'm going to do an affiliates link, just a heads up. If you guys want to click on it and use it, that'd be great. Thanks for watching.